Hello, hello. Here we are again. Back for more fun Kabbalah learning, fun tree of life learning, fun in the winter sun. Or maybe you're in the southern hemisphere. Maybe where it is for you right now is actually summer. If so, enjoy it because the seasons change, baby. There he is. How's this sound working? We know it's working great. See? Told you. All right, cool. Get some music going, and then we'll get to rocking. I hope you're all having a magnificent Thursday. Some call it Thirsty Thursday. Well, we're gonna call it 32 Paths Upon the Tree Thursday instead. That's what we're gonna call it. And for whoever it was out there who was begging, I could hear you through the forest. I could. Oh, come on, we already did that part. I could hear you through the force saying, I ordered the book, it's on the way, and I want to be a part, I want to read along. So that's why we waited. We waited for you. Much just know that you are heard and you are loved. Dub VT, welcome. 32 Thursdays. Facts. And if none of you ever listened to the band Thursday, well, if you're into that 2000s emo-y, screamo-y type of music, I can promise you, you want to listen to the band Thursday, particularly the album War All the Time. I've been listening to that one a lot recently, getting that kick of high school throwback to music. Boy, it's a good album, but only if you're into that kind of music. Otherwise, you probably won't really enjoy it very much. So, today, the day of abundance, the day of expansion. You know, it often is mind blowing to me to think about the size of Jupiter. Welcome in, everybody just coming in. Talk about expansion. The size of Jupiter. They say that that storm on Jupiter, the Great Red Spot, is so big that it could just swallow Earth whole, no problem. Our entire planet, think of that. A storm. The planet out there exists that is so big that there is a storm on it bigger than our planet we all inhabit. All the billions of us here on Earth could just be swallowed up in a storm. Speaking of swallowed up, oh, there she is again. Queen of Wands. Well, and that is that alchemy. That is Earth being swallowed into the fiery storm of Jupiter. It's not really made of fire, but it is red. So here we have that alchemy again, that water and that fire, showing that once we master that animal nature, once we truly learn to search within, we begin that process. All right. Well, I think that's about enough of the silly little intro. So let's get to reading. Q.B.L. I hope you enjoyed the couple days off. I sure did. I watched season 4 of The Witcher. It sucked. Holy heck, that show had so much potential and it just sucks. I really want to read the books. I think I'd actually enjoy those a lot more. But right now, I'm reading Kabbalah books. Okay, so today I think we will knock out chapter 2 and chapter 3. Should be about 20 pages worth. but we don't shy away from such things. So much love to those of you here. Let us begin. Chapter 2 of Q.B.L. by Frater Achad, concerning the natural basis of correspondences in the Hebrew alphabet. The root meaning of the Kabbalah being to receive, it is essential that we be willing to receive and to make our own the roots of this teaching. If Mother Earth were unwilling that the seed be properly planted in her breast, and that the seed should first of all put forth its roots into her very being, we should not have the pleasure of seeing the tree arising therefrom, which in due season delights us with its perfect fruits. In the beginning of this study, it is essential that the student be receptive, and more, that he do all in his power to plant firmly the first seeds of this tree in his own mind. Speaking of which, hopefully you all got a chance in the couple of days off to draw up and color in a tree of life, because that will do exactly that. Like I said, that will help you plant firmly those seeds, at least part of it. The process may be a little dry and tedious, but it is of primary importance that the details of the plan be memorized. Hi, Ethan McH1N. Ethan McHin, perhaps. Welcome in. Great to have you here, and great to have the rest of you who popped in just barely. Much love to you all. This is possibly the chief reason why in the early times the Kabbalah was transmitted from mouth to ear and not in writing, for it only bears fruit insofar as it is first rooted in our minds. We may read of it, study it to some extent, juggle with it on paper, and so on, but not until the mind itself takes on the image of the tree and we are able to go mentally from branch to branch, correspondence to correspondence, visualizing the process and thus making it a living tree, do we find that the light of truth dawns upon us, and we have, as it were, succeeded in putting forth a shoot above the earth. Thus, as in the case of a young tree, finding ourselves in a new world, while yet our roots are firmly planted in our natural element. The writer has learned this from experience. At first, he could make nothing out of what seemed an unintelligible mass of correspondences. He absorbed some of them gradually, almost subconsciously, until after a while he began seriously to trace up one set of correspondences. This led to further investigation. Then he tried to explain what little he knew to another, and this, as always, bore fruit. For we are often prepared to go to much greater trouble to explain an idea than we should be willing to give to the matter for our own use. It was not until later that it was not until later still that the tree began to live in him. He then found that he had been storing up the seeds of a wonderful system, and that suddenly these took almost independent life. A wonderful vista opened up. He realized that his work had not been in vain, but that which had been conceived in silence and darkness came forth a living child of the light. This child was in a mystical sense himself, since he had begun to harmonize the microcosm with the macrocosm, and to learn the truth of the sole Hermetic dogma. That which is above is like unto that which is below. So, what he's saying right here is that, and this is the way we find that Kabbalah works because it is more of an oral system, that as you start to try to teach on it, then all of a sudden it's like things start popping off and firing off even more. And one thing that is linked in Hermetic Kabbalah that I have found that to be very true is also with tarot. For any of you who feel like you're kind of struggling, maybe new to tarot, and I promise you, if you have somebody who will happily let you give them readings here and there, family, friend, whoever, shoot, I'll do it. Hit me up. I'll let you I'll let you read for me if it'll help you get better. Hit me up. It that's where you'll really start to pop off. Like I had been reading for myself for I don't know, probably like a good year of like seriously trying to learn and read for myself. And then at one point I had read for somebody else, and holy heck, it was like it was just like stuff started coming out where I was thinking, when did I learn this? When did I figure this out? How did I know this? So give that a shot, and maybe we'll find that with this as well. That's also part of the idea behind doing this channel is that hopefully I will be able to even better understand some things that I have, kind of a grasp on, somewhat. Anyway, it is for this reason that you are urged to make these things a part of your own consciousness as early as possible, and to do so step by step as we proceed. For if you only succeed in grasping firmly the elements of the system, you will be able to add it for yourselves as time and experience allows. I, who am trying to transmit what little I have grasped, am confining myself to what is already rooted in me. I shall use no books of reference while writing this, it being my intention only to give what comes readily to mind, what actually flows forth without effort. For the Kabbalah is, if I may say so, a liquid system. The shape of the vessel is, so to speak, shown in the tree, but its stability is ensured by its change, and the influence which connects the Sephiroth must flow readily from one to another, changing as it goes, forming new combinations of ideas, and these in turn giving place to others which become more and more synthetic until finally they all merge again into the one true goddess. Welcome. Always good to see you. One true goddess says, you sure have helped me understand a lot. Well, then I am succeeding. If I can help at least one person to understand, then that's wonderful. Especially you, goddess. You are amazing. Thank you for your presence here. Okay. I was right here. The Hebrew alphabet is a natural basis of correspondences, for every letter is numerical as well as symbolical. The 10 Sephiroth, to which we have already given some attention, are numbered according to the decimal system from 1 to 10. We have now to deal with the 22 paths which connect these Sephiroth, and as in the former instance, we took for a basis of all correspondences pure numbers. So the basic natures of the paths are referred to the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet, which in turn have a certain numerical value. Those who are not acquainted with the shapes of the Hebrew letters will find it essential to memorize them carefully, but that is not a difficult task, although it may deter some who do not recognize the importance of having this system in mind rather than on paper. Yeah, it's really not too difficult. One thing that will help you is, again, drawing them out. You know what I mean? That's how I started trying to lock in the Hebrew alphabet, was by in my notebook, just writing them, drawing Aleph to start, writing out in English next to it Aleph, the numerical value one, um, that it equals the letter A as well as sometimes E, stuff like that. And then, if you've got a study buddy who can help you, because I need to do that with Greek. So I'm going to need my study buddy and me. We're going to need to make up some flashcards, and really get that Greek alphabet dialed in next. That's my next goal, because those are going to be two of the more important alphabets to learn. as magical practitioners, as if you like to call yourself an occultist, a magician, whatever. Hebrew first. And it really is not very difficult. Just be patient with yourself, huh? All right. For the sake of clearness on this point, man, I'm yapping a lot and it's not even a Wednesday, it's a Thursday. For the sake of clearness on this point, it is worthwhile to spend a little time on the study of the shape of these letters so as to fix them more firmly in the mind. It may cheer the reader who enters upon this study for the first time if I remark that the system here given out does not require a knowledge of the Hebrew language. The alphabet, yeah, because I, okay. Knowing the Hebrew alphabet is one thing. Knowing the Hebrew language is just a completely different thing. And we see a lot of people embarrass themselves because they think they know Hebrew and then they go up against like Bible scholars who have a university level education of Hebrew, and they just clearly don't know Hebrew. So, but the Hebrew alphabet is something completely different than the language. The alphabet, with its correspondences and a few important words, are all that is essential. So here, the first letter is called Aleph and is formed like this. It suggests the swastika by shape. Its numerical value is 1. The second letter, Bet, is formed as such. So for any of you who are just listening, you'll probably want to have your screen handy for this part, or if you've got the book, then you'll have it right in front of you because he's showing them here as well. The shape of this letter should be carefully considered. Notice the broad line at the top tapering off on the right as it nears the base, and that the broad base line projects slightly past the vertical line. I mention these details since there are other letters in the alphabet very like Bet in shape, or so they seem at first until we have grasped the characteristic details which distinguish one from another. Its numerical value is 2. Right, like one of these next ones, Gimel or Noon, could easily be mistaken for Bet at first, but that's one of the things that's so good about Lon's Kabbalah book is in Lon Milo Duquette's book on Kabbalah, he has like I don't know, he's a really good teacher. He has like a fun way of kind of helping you to differentiate on some of that stuff. So definitely get to that one in your free time. The third letter, called Gimel, is formed as such. Here again, we should pay attention to its shape. It is narrower than the previous letters, but of the same height. Notice the little rectangular piece at the base, not quite connected with the vertical line. Its numerical value is 3. The fourth letter, Dalet, is shaped as such. This is wider than the previous letter. The thick upper line projects slightly beyond the vertical line on the right. Its number is 4. The fifth letter is known as He and is formed as such. Notice that the right hand vertical line is a continuation of the thick upper line, but that the left hand stroke of the letter is slightly separated from the upper horizontal line. Numerically, it is 5. Right, so you'll see there that this left leg is not connected, whereas Het you see down here is basically the same, but the left leg is connected. The sixth letter, called Vowel, and its form is as such. This is a narrow letter, a little like the following, with which it should not be confused. Its numerical value is 6. The seventh letter, Zion, is shaped as such. So yeah, you can see that Zion and Vow are pretty dang close, but Zion, the leg connects kind of in the center, whereas Vow, it comes straight off the right hand side. It is a narrow letter, and the vertical line is joined in the middle of the short one at top. Its value is 7. The eighth letter is Het, pronounced het. It is formed as such. This is very like the letter hey, but notice the slight projections of the upper line to the right and the fact that the left vertical line meets the upper line. Its numerical value is 8. The ninth letter, tet, or teth, is formed as such. It is a little like a serpent for which it stands symbolically. Its numerical value is 9. The 10th letter is yod, formed like a simple dot. This is said to be the basic letter of the whole alphabet and is very sacred for many reasons. It forms the characteristic parts of many of the other letters. Its value is 10. Yeah, so if you pay attention, you'll notice that there is a yod basically hidden in pretty much every single Hebrew letter. But some of them, it's kind of more like right here in Kaf, the next one, it's, you can see there's a yod here, but then it extends way over to the right. You know what I mean? Or up here on Tet, there's a yod right here at the top of this left side of it. Okie dokie. The 11th letter, Kaf, is shaped as such. Note the similarity to Bet, the second letter, the difference being that the lines form a continuous curve and there is not the projection at the right of base as in Bet. Note also the numerical value is 20. This letter has what is called a final form, used when it comes at the end of the word. It is then shaped over here as such and has a numerical value of 500. And that's only in the final. So if you see a Kaf final, then it'll be, rather than numerical value of 20, it's now a numerical value of 500. The 12th letter, Lamed, is formed as such. It is quite a distinct type and not likely to be confused with any other letter. Its value is 30. Yeah, that's okay. I'll tell you there too is a good way to start locking them in. Is there's a few of them like Aleph, Lamed that just don't really look like any other one. And so it might be easiest to start by locking those ones in if you are wondering, a good place to start and you feel confused because so many of them look similar and it's kind of hard. Start there. Okay, its value is 30. I think I said that part. Okay, the 13th letter is Mem, which looks like such. Do not confuse it with Teth. Its numerical value is 40. This also has a final form. It is then written like such, which looks a lot like a Samek. So yeah, some of those final ones can get real confusing too. But usually wider than the other letters so as not to cause confusion with one of the others called Samek. Thank you, Frater Achad. Its value is 600 when final. So 40 or 600. The 14th letter is Nun, which looks like such. It is a narrow letter, and this helps to distinguish it from Kaf. But care should be taken to avoid confusion with Gimel. Its value is 50. Final form, so Nun final right there, which looks a lot like Val, but really extended down on the tail, equals 700 and must not be confused with Val. Okay, the 15th letter is Samek, and it looks like such. It must not be confused with Mem final. Its value is 60. The 16th letter is Oyen, pronounced Oyen, formed like this. Kind of looks like a Y. Note the right hand line forms a tail and the left hand branch connects with it. Its numerical value is 70. The 17th letter is Pe. Its shape is like such. It is a little like cough, but has a small tongue inside. It means mouth. Its value is 80. Final form is Pe, and there's Pe final, which you just have to look to see, and that equals 800. So also, yeah, all of these, the Hebrew letters also have a meaning. So Pe means mouth, like Oyin is eye. So I would definitely figure that out and write that down as well in your notes, in your drawings of the Hebrew alphabet. The 18th letter is Zadi. Then it looks like such. Note the resemblance to Oyin, but in this case, the tail proceeds from the left hand upper dot and the right hand dot is connected with it. Its value is 90. And then a final Zadi looks like this, and it equals 900. The 19th letter is Kuf. It is formed rather like the English P. That's how I remembered it. Right away, I said, hey, that looks like a letter I know. It looks kind of like a P, but it's a Q. It's Kuf. And it is, the value is 100, which is also the moon card. Unless you're going with those Levy correspondences. Oh, goodness. All right. The 20th letter is Resh. Note its similarity to Dalet, but the thick upper line curves into the vertical line without any projection. Its value is 200. Now I remembered Resh because it's the letter R, but it also literally looks like a lowercase r turned backwards. The 21st letter is Sheen. There is no mistaking this letter, which is like a triple tongue of flame. Its value is 300. So yeah, you see the three yods. Sheen. Yep, that's another one of those ones that's it doesn't look like much of anything else at all. It just looks like sheen. The 22nd letter is called tau and is formed like such. Notice the difference between tau, he, and het. In this case, we find the left-hand vertical line ends in a distinct foot and that it joins the top thick line. Its value is 400. So you'll see that it looks kind of like a foot, or Lon Milo Duquette actually even said it looks like a dolphin or a fish. So now I haven't been able to unsee that. This brief description of the letters will, I trust, be useful and save confusion. We see that the numerical values of the letters and finals give the possibility of expressing any number up to 999 by means of these symbols. When larger numbers were necessary, the letters were made larger, so that a large aleph would be not one, but 1,000, and so on. I have at present made no mention of the English equivalents as I sought to emphasize the likeness and differences between the Hebrew letters themselves. The English correspondences will be found in the summary table at the end of this chapter. Nice. We have now to learn the symbolic meaning of the letter. For each letter of the Hebrew, besides being a number, also represents a word. For instance, the letter Aleph can be spelled in full in Hebrew, Aleph, Lamed, Pei, final. Or, well, he just put for pay, but that one there is going to be your pay final, or ALP. This word means an ox, so that we say Aleph equals an ox. The Hebrew spelling of each letter in full is important for future study, so I give this as well as the meaning of each word or letter in the following table, which should be carefully studied and memorized. Absolutely. And let me get the camera pointed on that table for us all. And we'll go over it real quick. But you may want, for those of you who don't have a copy of the book, or you're just waiting for it to show up still, you might want to take a pause, take a screenshot, so that way you can literally go through and don't just let a screenshot be enough. Go write this on a piece of paper. Go put it. Hopefully you have an actual notebook, a magical diary. Go put it in that. If not, then at least write it on a piece of paper. So here we have the Hebrew alphabet. Over here, we'll see the Hebrew, we'll see the English here in this column, the numerical value, the spelling of the word in the Hebrew, and then the word or symbol for each one. So Aleph being a value of 1, I'll probably just save off on the spelling out of it for now, this Hebrew. So we already did that one, Aleph, Lamed, Pei, but I'm not going to worry about that part, which is an ox, symbol and ox. Bet English is B, value of 2, and it is house. Gimel, G, value of 3, is camel. Dalet, D, value 4, is door. Hey, which is H or E, I've never seen it as E before, but I believe them. That could, I don't know. I wonder if that's a typo because, hey, H, I don't know. I'll have to do some further research into that myself. Anyway, value of 5, and it means window. Val, which is V, U, or O, is a value of 6, and it means nail. Zion, which is Z, and a value of 7, means sword. Het, which is CH, and a value of 8, means fence. Tet, which is T, has a value of 9 and is serpent. Yod, which can be I, Y, or J. So that's why you'll see Jehovah when it's put into English will sometimes start with a Y, sometimes start with a J, and sometimes you'll even see it with an I, and that's why, because Yod can be any one of those. And its value is 10, and it means hand. Kaf, which is K, has a value of 20, and it means palm. Lamed, which is L, and a value of 30, means ox goad. And that's the tool used. So that's why there's definitely an intimate connection between your Aleph and Lamed in your tarot deck. And that's ox goad, which is the tool used to prod and poke your ox or your cattle to get them to move. If they're being stubborn and don't move, it's kind of like a sharp stick and you poke it with them. So and I'm sure he'll probably go more into that later in this book. Gareth Knight definitely did a good job of elaborating on all of that as well. Okay, Mem, which is the letter M and a value of 40, means water. Noon, which is the letter N and a value of 50, means fish. Samek, which is the letter S and a value of 60, means prop, like a tent prop or a tent like that type. Oyin, which is O or NG, and a value of 70, means eye. Pay, which is P and a value of 80, means mouth. Zadi, which is TZ and a value of 90, means fish hook. Kuf, which is Q and a value of 100, is back of the head. Resh, which is R and a value of 200, is head. Sheen, which is SH and a value of 300, is tooth. And Tau, which is TH and a value of 300, is Tau cross, which is a cross in the shape of a capital letter T, for any of you who aren't familiar with that. All right, so that does it for chapter 2. Hopefully, you've got at least somewhat of a little bit better grasp on Hebrew. And once you go through and make those notes and draw up that alphabet, may you have a very, very good grasp of the Hebrew alphabet. Time for a drink. And welcome in to those of you who have just popped in. All right, then. So, chapter 3 of the 22 paths with their Yetziratic attributions and color correspondences. Having learned the names and shapes of the letters of the Hebrew alphabet, it is now necessary to study their positions as representing the 22 paths connecting the 10 Sephiroth on the tree of life. Here it may be well to state that the Sefer Yetzirah, or Book of Formations, allots to each of these paths, as well as to the 10 Sephiroth, which it describes as the first 10 paths, making in all the 32 paths of wisdom, a certain type of intelligence, and though I do not consider this is of very great importance so far as the present work is concerned, we might just as well learn these titles as we proceed so as to develop our system of correspondences. We must then deal with the Sephiroth first. So, one, Kether, is called the admirable or hidden intelligence. Two, Hokmah, is called the illuminating intelligence. Three, Binah, is called the sanctifying intelligence. Four, Hesed, is called the measuring, cohesive, or receptacular intelligence. Five, Gibura is called the radical intelligence. Six, Tiferet is called the intelligence of the mediating influence. Seven, Netzach is called the occult intelligence. Eight, Hod is called the absolute or perfect intelligence. Nine, Yesod is called the pure or clear intelligence. 10, Malkuth is called the resplendent intelligence. So far, we have disposed of the 10 Sephiroth, and we shall now deal with the paths which connect them. These paths are numbered from 11 to 32, each corresponding to a letter of the Hebrew alphabet, shown by the leading authorities as in order from Kether to Malkuth. From Kether proceed 3 paths, the first of which is numbered 11 and attributed to Aleph. It joins Kether and Hokmah and is called the scintillating intelligence. 12 is the path of Bet. It unites Kether and Binah and is called the intelligence of transparency. 13 is the path of Gima. It connects Kether with Tippereth and is called the uniting intelligence. 3 paths proceed from Hokmah. The 14th is the reciprocal path uniting Hokmah with Binah. It is the path of Daleth. It is called the illuminating intelligence. The 15th or path of He joins Chokmah and Tiferet and is called the constituting intelligence. And the 16th path of Vow unites Chokmah with Hesed. It is called the triumphal or eternal one. Only two paths proceed from Binah. The 17th uniting it with Tiferet and attributed to Zion. It is called the disposing one or intelligence. The 18th path or Het connects Binah with Gibra and is called the intelligence of the house of influence. Three paths proceed from Hesed. The 19th, which is the reciprocal path of Tet, is called the intelligence of all the activities of the spiritual being. The 20th, or path of Yod, joins Chesed with Tiferet and is known as the intelligence of will. The 21st, or path of Kaf, unites Chesed and Netzach and is called the intelligence of conciliation. One sec, I'm actually going to grab something real quick. Probably should have grabbed this first, but this might make it a little easier to get the visual. He might, I don't know, he might give us one in here, he might not, but guess what? We've got that drawn up right here. So here's that tree of life, queen scale Sephiroth, king scale paths. And so this is the path he was just talking about, connecting Chesed to Gibra, intelligence of all the activities of the spiritual beings. So I'll probably read and then pull those up. Oh, so far he's shown us also, obviously, the Sephiroth themselves, but this path, which is Aleph, there's Beth, Gimel is back here. You've got Hey over here. You've got Vow over here. You've got Zion here, Het here, Het here, and then Tet here. So two paths proceed from Gibra. Oh wait, you know what? I'm actually gonna start over here. The 20th path of Yod joins Chesed with Tifereth and is known as the intelligence of will. So that's right here. The 21st, or path of Kof, unites Hesed and Netzach and is called the intelligence of conciliation. So that's going to be over here. Two paths proceed from Gibura. The 22nd path of Lamed joins Gibura and Tifereth. It is called the faithful intelligence. The 23rd, or path of Mem, joins Gibura and Netzach. Yeah, that's an error. It says right here, editor's note, Akkad is in error. The 23rd path goes from Gibura to Hod. That's all right. We all make mistakes, huh? And it is known as the stable intelligence. Three paths issue from Tiferet. The 24th, which unites Tifereth and Netzach, is attributed to Noon and is called the imaginative intelligence. Right there. The 25th, or path of Samek, joins Tiferet and Yesod. It is called the intelligence of probation or tentative one. So right there. The 26th path of Oyen connects Tiferet with Netzach Editor's note, Achad is in error. The 26th path goes from Tifereth to Hod and is known as the renovating one or renovating intelligence. Oh, come on, stay put, will you? Okay. Renovating. That's the one we just did. Okay. Three paths proceed out of Netzach. The 27th, or path of pay, is the lowest of the reciprocal paths. So by reciprocal paths, I'm assuming he means the paths that unite the two extremes, or the left and the right pillar, the pillar of mercy and the pillar of severity. So down here you see that lowest one, the active or exciting intelligence, which is the path of pay or the tower. It is called the exciting intelligence. The 28th, which is called Zadi, joins Netzach and Yesod and is known as the natural intelligence. So that's this one over here. While the 29th, or path of Kuf, joining Netzach and Malkuth, is called the corporeal intelligence. So that's going to be down here. The two paths issuing from Hod are the 30th, which is that of Resh, joining Hod and Yesod, called the collecting intelligence, right there. And the 31st path of Sheen, leading from Hod to Malkuth, which is called the perpetual intelligence, right here. Man, it's almost like I drew this knowing I was going to have to teach off it at some point. No, not really. I just got lucky, huh? Okay, so the 32nd, or last path attributed to Tau, is it is the connecting link between Yesod and Malkuth and is called the administrative intelligence. So that one right there. Before proceeding further, it is well that the student should trace out for himself these paths on the diagram which follows, taking notice of the manner in which the letters are arranged as clearly shown thereon. So that's going to be this diagram here, which is pretty simple, where he's just got them numbered and then he has the Hebrew letters put on to the lines that would signify those paths. Or for extra credit, you could do it the way I did it. Start simple and then, and then go on to something a little more complex like that. We have now what might serve as a very complete basis for our filing cabinet. A plan whereby we may express every idea in the universe in terms of 32. It will be noticed how perfectly all the parts are balanced and equilibrated. Though we shall refer to this matter more fully when it comes to the question of making a practical attempt to deal with our own minds in this way. Our next consideration will be to extend our series of correspondences so as to take in the universal ideas underlying all systems. Our basis, the Hebrew alphabet, is admirably suited to this since its 22 letters are naturally divided into three divisions which correspond with the three most important universal sets of ideas, viz., the elements, the planets, and the signs of the zodiac. These divisions of the alphabet are known as the three mother letters, the seven double letters, and the 12 single letters. And for anybody who's actually coming into this information for the first time, Well, congratulations for even if you've stuck it out and your eyes didn't glaze over and you decided actually I don't really like this book read that Jay's doing. Be just stick with it. Just keep rocking with it. Keep trying your best because the information will lock in and you will find it very helpful. At least if this is, you know, what you're really trying to do in life. I don't know. If you just like to hear my voice in the background, well then, thank you. I still thank you. I'll take it as a compliment. All right. Anyway, the three, but I assume you genuinely want to learn, and so yeah, if you're new, if you're fresh at this information, just be patient with yourself. It will definitely start to click, start to make sense, and that's why we've between myself, Trav, my Gnosis, everybody's gone over different bits of all this information, and it's not like we're the only ones out there. There's plenty of other really solid teachers out there teaching, just there's a lot more crap ones. So do your best to really learn what's what so that you'll be able to see for yourself just how many crap ones there are. All right. The three mother letters are Aleph, Mem, and Sheen. Aleph is attributed to air, Mem to water, and Sheen to fire. The letter Tau is usually attributed to earth, although it is not a mother letter as earth is not a true element. The seven double letters having a double sound in Hebrew are Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Kaf, Pe, Resh, and Tav. They are attributed to the planets as follows. Bet is Mercury, Gimel is Luna or the moon, Dalet is Venus, Kaf is Jupiter, Pe is Mars, Resh is Sol or the sun, and Tal is Saturn and Earth. So they're Earth is not only an element but is a planet as well. But the main one to remember is that Saturn right there. These should be memorized in connection with the letters corresponding, and they must not be confused with the spheres of the planets. These planetary influences are operative in the paths and often suggest a difference in quality from the Sephirothic attributions. For instance, Netzach, the sphere of Venus, represents rather the sexual love nature, while the path of Venus, Dalet, is the higher love of the father mother of the universe, since the path joins Chokmah and Binah, or wisdom and understanding. This instance will suffice for the moment, as we shall deal with the matter again later on. The 12 single letters He, Vav, Zayin, Het, Tet, Yod, Lamed, Nun, Samek, Oyin, Zadi, and Kuf, they are attributed to the signs of the zodiac as follows. He is Aries, the ram. Val is Taurus, the bull. Zion is Gemini, the twins. Het is Cancer, the crab. Tet is Leo, the lion. Yod is Virgo, the virgin. Lamed is Libra, the scales. Noon is Scorpio, the scorpion. Samek is Sagittarius, the archer. Oyen is Capricorn, the goat. Zadi is Aquarius, the water bearer. And Kuf is Pisces, the fishes. Last but most certainly not least. These symbols should, of course, be placed on their respective paths of the tree of life. And it will help the student if he does this for himself, noticing the different Sephiroth they connect and their general relation to one another, which may at first appear somewhat puzzling on account of the elementary and planetary letters and signs coming between. Before bringing this section to a close, it will be well to explain the color scheme connected with the paths, since we have already dealt with it in regard to the 10 Sephiroth. In the simple color scheme of the Tree of Life here used, the colors of the 10 Sephiroth were drawn from what is called the Queen scale of color, while that of the paths is derived from what is known as the King scale. So here, I'll show you that again in that drawing. Man, that drawing really is going to come in handy, huh? So that's what, here, I'll show you. Let's see. So here's first the Queen scale, paths and the spheres. Then that's what the King scale looks like for the paths and spheres. And now Queen scale paths, or Queen scale spheres, and King scale paths. To explain this more fully would involve a discussion of what are known as the four worlds, but this we must leave till the proper place in a future chapter. Suffice it to say that a much more elaborate scheme is possible, but that this one is most convenient for our present purpose. The only thing to note is that since all is derived from the positive and negative aspects of the one substance of light, so it is fitting that the two aspects of the tree should be represented by the interblending of the color scales of the king and queen, the father and mother of all things. The color scale of the paths is obtained in a very simple and scientific manner, but this derivation is not so apparent when the colors are seen distributed over the tree. It is therefore advisable that we trace the matter to its first principles, as our ancient brothers did of old, thus realizing the true significance of the minimum mundum or little universe of color. See plate 1 between pages 110 and 111. We saw that one, but we could take another quick look. And that was this one here. All the colors of the spectrum vibrate between the extremes of white and black. What more natural than I don't know that those are that's but what more natural than that the light should break up first into the three primary colors attributed to the elements and mother letters, and then into the seven colors of the rainbow, the planetary colors and double letters, and finally that these colors should blend into each other in a 12-fold manner, the signs of the zodiac or single letters. Our 3, 7, and 12-fold division of the letters is then the natural one in this instance. Okay, and then he's got another figure for us over here. Showing that white and black, and then all this in between. And if you have the copies of, shoot, I don't remember. I know Dion definitely talked about the colors of the Sephiroth, at least in Mystical Kabbalah. I don't remember if she said anything about the colors and what little bit she went in on the paths, but Gareth Knight definitely did. And also, there's some pretty helpful websites out there. Unfortunately, one of the best ones got shut down, but there's still some other ones where you can go and just Google like Kabbalistic Tree of Life color correspondences, and you can find them that way too. Um, I typically like to kind of cross reference. I like to maybe have a couple sources so I can just make sure they all agree that, okay, yeah, this path is definitely scarlet. Okay, this path is definitely emerald green instead of, I don't know, some other green. One True Goddess says, I don't remember her mentioning the paths at all. She did, but it was like really brief, and it was basically at the end of the book in Mystical Kabbalah. It was like one of the last chapters, and she talks like really, it's like just like some of the briefest little bits on the paths. And she says this book is great. Facts. I'm really liking this one a lot. So I'm glad we all get to experience it for the first time. Or at least most of us. Who knows? Maybe somebody out there who's tuning in has already gone through Q.B.L. But I haven't. And so I'm really enjoying it. Okay. And that will end chapter 3. Chapter 4. How long are you? Chapter 4. Do I want to keep reading? I kind of, because this book is really good. This book is fire. About 10 more pages. Do we do it? Do we do it, or do we save chapter 4 for the next session? We're at just about an hour now. I've been trying to keep them no more than 2 hours on a video, but a little bit closer to the hour side, because for somebody to, click on my page for the first time and see, oh, this guy's videos are all 3, 4, 5, 6 hours long, is going to probably send them right back the other direction. I mean, not that I care that much, but we do want to try to get people actually learning and actually sticking around. One True Goddess says, I say do it. All right. That sounds good to me. I'm sure Dub VT doesn't mind rocking one more. Trav, we know that you're always down for more Kabbalah. All right, you guys. Chapter 4. I better take a drink. All right. Chapter 4. Concerning the tarot trumps and their attributions to the Hebrew alphabet. There have been many false attributions of the tarot trumps to the Hebrew alphabet, and only one true presentation as far as I am aware. Certainly, the truth was not published prior to 1909 when the key was given in Book 777. This is no place to attempt anything approaching a full explanation of the tarot, but since there is a very direct correspondence between it and the Tree of Life, it is important that the matter be at least briefly discussed. And Dub, yep, Dub agrees, says was thinking do. All right, cool. Well, then that's 2 for 2. All right, the tarot, or rota, meaning a wheel, which you'll see Taro or Rota, is sometimes called the Book of Thoth. It consists of 78 leaves or cards, divided into 2 main sections called the Major and Minor Arcana. The Major Arcana consists of 22 symbolic designs or trumps, and these form a sort of universal alphabet of which many interpretations may be given. The Minor Arcana consists of 56 cards, 40 of which are very similar to the small cards of the ordinary playing pack, except that in place of clubs, hearts, diamonds, and spades, we find the true magical weapons of the mysteries: wands, cups, swords, and pentacles. The remaining 16 are the court cards, usually described as kings, queens, knights, and pages. And there are 4 of each for the four suits. Properly speaking, we should perhaps deal with the minor arcana first, but since this would necessitate a description of the four worlds of the Kabbalistic plan, which I intend to treat of in the next chapter, I shall take the 22 trumps of the major arcana first and show how they correspond to the 22 paths of the tree and the Hebrew alphabet. The important thing to notice is the attribution of these cards to the proper letters of the Hebrew alphabet, without which all our work is awry. The cards, as they are found in the pack, are numbered from 1 to 21, in Roman numerals, the remaining trump being marked 0, or sometimes it is unnumbered. For reasons ranging from a pledge of secrecy to gross ignorance, this unnumbered card has usually been placed anywhere but in the obvious position prior to number 1, with the result that the card marked 1, viz., the magician, has been attributed to Aleph, and so on down the line until the unnumbered card, the Fool, was given a place. This slight change was enough to confuse the student and prevent him from reaping the harvest of symbolism from the study of the correspondences of the Tarot and Holy Kabbalah. And as we shall see later on, when it comes to the question of climbing the tree, it may be considered as almost criminally misleading. Let us start then with 0, attributing the Fool to the letter Aleph and the path leading from Kether to Hokmah. Aleph is the letter of air, or the divine breath, which arose prior to the word, or logos, the male aspect of the creator in Hokmah. Right in the beginning was the word, but prior to the word was the divine breath. This is the pure fool who cometh forth from the source of light. He carries in one hand, but resting on the opposite shoulder, a staff, from which depends a wallet. He is on the verge of an abyss and is followed by a snapping dog or wolf, yet he travels the way of the Tao, oblivious to his surroundings. He is perhaps more properly symbolized in the old tarot cards as an ancient instead of a young man. I have no intention of giving a description of the full symbolism of these cards. The reader should obtain a pack for himself and study them carefully, meditating on the symbolism therein contained. He will find a treasure house if he is to do so, or if he so do. Same difference. The Modern Pack, drawn by Miss P. Coleman Smith under the direction of Mr. A. E. Waite, published by Ryder and Sons, London, is the only one easy to obtain. This, and remember, this was written. When was this first written? I want to say it was like at least like about 100 years ago in the 20s or something like that. Originally published in 1922. So yeah, we're rocking about over 100 years in the past now. So now, obviously, that deck and just so many other decks are so readily available. You can find them at Barnes and Noble. You can find, I mean, you can find them all kind of places, really. I definitely highly recommend, yeah, that original. Even though I don't even own it myself, I own decks that are basically the Rider Waite, but a slight variation. But I still don't have an actual Rider Waite. But I do have Crowley's Book of Thoth, and that's another one I would certainly recommend getting. Um, the Manly P. Hall deck is incredible. The Marseille Tarot is another one very worth having. All right, anyway. Let's see, it was right here talking about it's the only one easy to obtain, and though the symbolism varies somewhat from the older packs, since it is possibly the only set that can be got by the student, I shall discuss the matter as if one were in his possession, pointing out some of the differences as we go along. In order to avoid confusion, I ask you once again to note that the trumps or keys are numbered in Roman numerals, so that when we refer to these trumps, this will indicate the difference between them and the numeration of the Sephiroth, paths or values of the letters of the alphabet. 1. The magician equals Beth equals Mercury, who is clearly the god of magic. This card shows the magician with the four symbolic elemental weapons on his table. He makes the sign Salve et Coagula. These he points upward and downwards as if to indicate that which is above is like unto that which is below, and that which is below is like that which is above, for the performance of the miracle of the one substance. This card is given the title of the Magus of Power. Oh, from book 777. And yes, you see, there's more to that quote than just as above, so below. The full thing is that which is above is like unto that which is below, and that which is below is like that which is above, for the performance of the miracle of the one substance. 2. The High Priestess, Gimel, the moon. This card shows the priestess seated between the two pillars representing severity and mercy, which are established in strength by means of equilibrium. This, however, is said not to be the correct symbolism, as the pillars of the tree of life have their heads in Chesed and Gibra, while the supernal triad forms an arc over them. Since the high priestess is attributed to the path from Kether to Tiferet, she would partake of the nature of the supernals and should then be above rather than between the pillars. Notice, however, that the moon is at her feet, which shows clearly her correspondence with Gimel, the letter of the moon, and also indicates how much mistaken we might have been had we attributed Aleph to the magician, for then Beth would have been the high priestess, who is hardly symbolic of Mercury. Again, she would then be on the path from Kether to Binah, and the pillar symbolism would not be explained, nor the Luna crescent. Notice she has the scroll of the law, the Torah, on her lap, and these letters signify tarot and rota. She is said to represent the holy guardian angel and is given the title of priestess of the silver star. So sick. 3. The Empress, Dalit, which is Venus, and is attributed to the reciprocal path from Hokmah to Binah. The card shows the symbol of Venus on her shield, another proof of the correctness of the attributions. She is crowned with 12 stars, thus combined with the high priestess, whose path is crossed by this one. Note the cross on breast of HP. We have a symbol of Our Lady Babylon, crowned with the stars and with the moon at her feet. The title of this card is The Daughter of the Mighty Ones. 4. The Emperor, Hey, which is Aries. Notice the ram's heads on his throne. He is called the son of the morning, chief among the mighty ones. 5. The Hierophant, which is Val and Taurus. The bull, Osiris, the initiator into the mysteries in the old Aeon. Title, the Magus of the Eternal. 6. The Lovers, which is Zine and Gemini. The symbolism of the older pacts is better in this instance, as they show a man between two women, one of which represents virtue and the other vice, or better, a virgin and a harlot. Above is seen Cupid with his bow and arrow. The card signifies the necessity of overcoming prejudice regarding the so called opposites. The title is The Children of the Voice, the Oracles of the Mighty Gods. 7. The Chariot, Het, which is Cancer. The symbolism of this card is best studied in the design given by Eliphas Levi in Le Dogma et Rituel de la Haute Magie. It represents the harnessing of the pairs of opposites, or black and white sphinxes, and, of course, a great deal more. Title: The Child of the Powers of the Waters, the Lord of the Triumph of Light. 8. Strength, which is Tet and Leo. This card is sometimes called Fortitude, or in like Crowley's Book of Thoth, it's called Lust. And same in Lawns. I think there's a couple other tarot decks that are more, I guess you could say, Crowley's Book of Thoth inspired or adjacent. And so those ones you'll find it called Lust, which also goes into some of that more New Aeon type of symbolism. Notice the lion and serpent symbolism. Leo equals the lion. Tet equals the serpent. Huh. And who is the lion-headed serpent? Pop quiz, drop it in the comments. Drop for those in the chat. You could drop it in the chat, but otherwise, go ahead and put it in the comments. Who is the lion-headed serpent? A woman is seen opening the jaws of lion. The old pack shows her closing them. Title: The Daughter of the Flaming Sword. 9. The Hermit, which is Yod and Virgo. An ancient is seen carrying a lamp and staff. The old pack shows lamp concealed by his cloak to represent secrecy. He is said to be the fool of the path of Aleph, bringing light to the college of Adepts. He is styled the magus of the voice of power. Sick. 10. The Wheel of Fortune, which is Kaf and Jupiter. A very important symbol, the title of which is the Lord of the Forces of Life. This will be dealt with more fully in another chapter. In fact, I give the interpretation of the cards very briefly, since the symbolism of the paths is more important when considered from the bottom to the top of the tree, as that of the Sephiroth is from the top to the bottom. For the flaming sword or lightning flash descended, but the paths were formed by the ascent of the serpent of wisdom. The wheel, in a way, indicates this eternal ascent and descent. 11. Justice, Lamed and Libra. Note, in the old packs, this card is numbered 8 and strength is numbered 11. So yeah, you'll see that in the Rider Waite, I believe. Hold on, let me check something real quick. I got this one right here. Oh, good, she's right here, ready to go. So yeah, so never mind. This is the Rider Waite type of correspondence. I mean, it makes sense. That's what he's been giving us off the imagery, where justice or adjustment is the 11th card, but in the Marseille and then Crowley, actually, that's one of his little switchbacks he did where he put adjustment back at the 8th card and then lust or strength at the 11th card. Nice. I love it when it's right there. I don't even got to dig for it. Okay, this has been corrected in Rider's Pack. The card shows a figure with sword and balances, which clearly indicates Libra. Title: Daughter of the Lord of Truth, the ruler of the balances. 12. The Hanged Man, which is Mem and Water. Title: The Spirit of the Mighty Waters. Note, this card should show, according to some authorities, a man hanging from a gallows shaped like the letter Dalet. His legs, arms, and head symbolizing a cross above an inverted triangle. He is said to be the uh, he is said to be the adept suspended over the abyss, thus bringing down the light as the redeemer. 13, Death, which is Noon and Scorpio. Old card shows skeleton with scythe mowing down heads which grow again as fast as they are cut down. V's Death is the gate of life and love. Title The Child of the Great Transformers, the Lord of the Gates of Death. Yeah, and that's why you find that in all religions, they're basically one of two things. They either are you could call it a death cult or a life cult, a love cult, because that's the two things you get with the incarnation, the human incarnation coming to the kingdom, life and death, baby. Okay, so the child of the great transformers, the Lord of the gates of death. 14, Temperance, which is Samek and Sagittarius. Design should show, it is said, symbolism of the waters of Chesed descending upon the fires of Netzach, and the fire of Gibura uniting with the water of Hod. Title The daughter of the reconcilers, the bringer forth of life. 15, The devil, which is Oyan and Capricorn. Again, one should refer to Eliphas Levy's design for the true symbolism of this card, which, as a rule, is much misunderstood. The pentagram on forehead should not be reversed, as in Rider's Pack, and there should be a flaming torch between his horns, etc. Etc. Title: The Lord of the Gates of Matter, the child of the forces of time. 16, The Blasted Tower, which is Pe and Mars. It is sometimes called the destruction of the house of God, and it conceals symbolism of initiation. Or I don't know, I haven't heard that destruction part, but yeah, I've definitely heard that an alternative name for the tower card is the house of God. I think even Gareth Knight, I'm pretty certain he definitely talked about that as well. So title The Lord of the Hosts of the Mighty. Okay, 17, the star, which is Zodi, Aquarius. The figure in this card suggests the swastika. Symbolism should be carefully studied. Title The Daughter of the Firmament, the Dweller between the Waters. I had written thus far, May 31st, 1922, when I was rewarded with the opening up of secrets so wonderful that they have changed my whole conception of the plan of the Kabbalah, and have indeed proved not alone a lightning flash to destroy the house of God, but a serpent of wisdom to reconstruct it, and yet again a star which explains all symbolism. This matter, being of such transcendent importance, will be dealt with in the form of appendixes to this volume, which will be obtainable under certain special conditions. Meanwhile, the main plan of this book will be followed as originally intended, since it is necessary that the student should have a clear and comprehensive grasp of the old system before he could appreciate the new. All right, 18. The moon, Kuf, and Pisces. This card is very interesting and is understood to represent the illusion of the moon, consciousness with its constant change. Two towers are shown with a narrow winding path between. Above is a strange moon. Below are two dogs or jackals barking at it, and below that again, a pool from which issues a crab or crayfish, symbolical of Kefra, the rising sun. Title: The ruler of flux and reflux, the child of the sons of the mighty. 19, the sun, Resh, and the sun. Here we have a truly magnificent symbol through it, though it is better expressed in the old packs, where in front of a wall, two children embrace beneath the rays of the sun. Rider's pack shows the child on the white horse, the crowned and conquering child prophesied in Revelations and to be manifested in this new aeon. 20. The Last Judgment. Sheen, fire. Here we have the stele of the old Aeon, Gabriel blowing his trumpet and the dead rising from their tombs. Those who know of the fire of the Holy Spirit have nothing to fear from this event. The gross must pass through the fire, however, as they need the refining which will make it possible for them to pass on to the second order, where they will next be tried in intellect, as shown in Liber Legis. Sheen, it must be remembered, is both fire and spirit. The card suggests regeneration. This is my body, which I destroy in order that it may be renewed. 21. The universe. Tau, or Saturn, is called the Great One of the Night of Time. This last trump of the pack is a symbol of the universe. It contains symbolism of the ellipse, the squaring of the circle, etc. It represents, in a measure, the daughter, Malkuth, who is to be raised to the throne of the mother. One interpretation reads, "And in the heart of the Sphinx danced the Lord Adonai, in his garlands of roses and pearls, making glad the concourse of things. Yea, making glad the concourse of things. So be it, my Lord Adonai." We have now dealt very briefly with the major arcana of the tarot. But please understand this is quite useless until the student applies himself carefully to the study of the cards themselves, makes himself quite familiar with the designs, and places them on the tree of life, in the order indicated by the letters and the paths as heretofore described. Then only will he begin to realize the great importance of these symbols as a means of self initiation, and as part of the great system of correspondences which he is building up into that filing cabinet, which in the end will be found to be the temple of the living God. All right, sick. So that does it for chapter 4 and these correspondences of the tarot. Nice. 88 minutes. Cool. I better hurry up and wrap it up there for good luck. Okay. Well, anyway. So next session, we'll definitely get into chapter 5, probably chapter 6 as well. We'll see how we're feeling from there. But I certainly appreciate all of your company. I hope that you have found this to be as insightful as I have. Once Your Goddess is Right, this book is sick. I like this one a lot. All right, you guys. So this has been J.B.L and Frater Achad's Q.B.L. I'll see you on the next session, most likely tomorrow, probably most definitely tomorrow. And if you're new, be sure to hit a like, share, and subscribe. Much love, many blessings, and bye-bye.